Welcome back to another episode of Boys from the Bridge. This is the official channel dedicated to yours truly, Chelsea Football Club and football in general. Everything you need to know, everything you want to know, it happens right here, right now. Let's get into it. So, lots of news to talk about today. Our main focus is going to be on the Champions League that is coming up in the next week. These games are coming thick and fast for Chelsea, so I'm going to be reviewing the Champions League that is coming up. Before I get into this, I really appreciate it if you could please hit the like and the subscribe notification for these videos so you can get all my videos as soon as I post them. Now, the main focus is going to be on Chelsea's group. There are a total of 8. This ranges from A all the way down to H, and Chelsea find themselves in Group E. Now, Didier Drogba did the draw. I believe he did us a huge favour. Our draw was probably the best I could have imagined for. As you can see, every group is now being displayed in front of you. You can see each group A to H, and the 4 teams are respectively in each group. I will be going through each group with my predictions, analysing the important facts that you need to know, analysing players that I believe can cause damage and that you should be looking out for. Some very exciting stuff. But like I said, I'm going to start off with Group E, as that's where Chelsea is and that's where our focus lies. Now, Group E. Out of all the potential groups we could have landed ourselves in, this is probably the best group, I believe, that we found ourselves in. We are with a Spanish team, Sevilla, that won the Europa League. They are a very, very strong unit. They beat Man United, they dominated them in the Europa League final, and they just lost against Bayern Munich in the UEFA Super Cup. That was a very close game. And Sevilla, out of these 3 teams, no disrespect to them, but I believe Sevilla is going to cause us the most difficulties. We also play against Sevilla in our opening game next week, so I'm looking forward to that. I believe if Christian Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech both play on Saturday, they get some fitness and some confidence going, then they can easily play in the Champions League in midweek. We desperately need these two. With our firing squad, our best players out there, we can definitely beat Sevilla. Now, some players to look out for with Sevilla. Sevilla are a very dangerous counter-attacking team. They pass the ball extremely well. The ball seems to travel extremely fast from defence to midfield to attack. And they manage to also close down the opposition very quickly. There are 3 players from Sevilla that I will be talking about first. The first one is Rakitic. Now, Rakitic was a sensational star at Barcelona. I'm a big fan of Ivan Rakitic. He is Croatian, he is around 32 years old, and he actually re-signed to Sevilla. He played for Sevilla before he joined Barcelona, and he went back to Sevilla, and they are a very dangerous team, especially now that Rakitic is playing in that midfield. Our midfield, such as Kovacic and Kante, are definitely going to have to battle. I think the game against Sevilla is going to be won and lost in that midfield, and who can distribute it to the wings, as both sets of teams have very good wingers that can distribute the ball back into the box, and they both have very good and clinical strikers. So definitely Rakitic is one to look out for. The next player I want to talk about is Luuk de Jong. Now, Luuk de Jong, he is Dutch. He is also a big threat. He's a striker. He is one to look out for. He's extremely clinical and very good in front of goal. He's good with his head and he's good with shooting with both feet. So Luuk de Jong, our defenders definitely need to be aware of him. They definitely need to keep him in close proximity. Zuma and Thiago Silva played extremely well against Crystal Palace in a 4-0 win. I think hopefully they can build a stronger partnership and they can keep an eye on the threats that Sevilla potentially cause and the other teams in the Champions League. The next player that I'm going to talk about for Sevilla is Koundé. Now, Koundé is an exceptional talent. He is very young, he is 20 years old, and he is a defender. He is still new to being a professional football player, so he does have some weaknesses in his game like every other player. I believe one of his weaknesses can be the ball going over his head. He can get a bit lost sometimes, but he does have blistering pace to make up for that. So if we kick the ball over him, he might be a bit lost about where he is at the moment, but he has blistering pace to run back. It's going to be interesting to see how him and Werner match up, as you know that Werner has blistering pace too, so I would love to see their pace one-on-one against each other. I think Sevilla is going to give us the most difficulties, and they are going to finish second in the group. I think that Chelsea are going to win the group, Sevilla coming second, and now I'll be talking about the Russian team and the French team that we'll also be playing, as well as discussing a potential player in each team that can cause us damage, and a player that we should look out for that look very dangerous and are hugely talented. Now, Krasnodar is a Russian team. We don't watch much of them. I personally haven't watched much of them, but what I do know about them is that they hold a very gifted 26-year-old Brazilian player. He's one of the best dribblers in the Russian league. He is called Wonderson, kind of like wonder where he's going because his dribbling is that good. He is regarded as probably the best dribbler in the Russian league. So definitely on the right hand side, Ben Chilwell, hopefully he got a little bit of a knock in international duty. So I hope that he's going to recover quickly because we need him on that left hand side to keep this player from causing damages. Now Ben Chilwell we know is a fantastic defender. He has blistering pace too. So I don't think that he's going to have too many difficulties with this player on the right. I'm expecting us to get our best result against this Russian team, as I think, no disrespect to them, but they're probably the weakest team. Moving on to the French team. Now, they have a lot, and I say a lot of good players. I think that they're also going to give Sevilla some difficulties as well. They are going to give us some difficulties. So I'm not going to brush any of these teams away. It is football, you never know what could happen. I'm just saying what I'm predicting, and I've done research on all these different teams and I've seen the players. So I'm just giving my prediction and my opinion on what I believe is going to happen. This French team is very good. They have a number of players that we should look out for. We know that we got Mendy from them, so big up to them for letting him come to us. Tomori almost went to them. I'm glad he didn't. But let's get into a couple of players now that can potentially cause Chelsea some issues. The first player I want to talk about is the striker, a player that is called Rutter. He is 18 years old and he is regarded worldwide as a very promising player at Rennes. He is hugely talented, he is very quick, he's a good dribbler and he's a good shooter. So I think definitely Kante needs to keep an eye on him, and our defense. He can definitely cause us harm if he gets into space. I think the space that he's in needs to constantly get closed down. The last player I want to talk about is probably the most promising player. He scored a bicycle kick in his debut for France. He is 17 years old, and I think Chelsea should definitely try and buy this player. I know he spent huge amounts over the summer, around £250 million, but I believe this player is being compared to the likes of Kante, which is probably one of the best praises you can as a defensive midfielder. This player is called Eduardo Camavinga. I hope I pronounced that all right. He is extremely fast, he closes down space extremely quickly, so I don't think our midfield is going to have that much time on the ball, but with the likes of Pulisic, Havertz, Ziyech, Werner, Kante, the list goes on and on. I think that we can move the ball very quickly, and hopefully we're not going to take that many touches and he won't be able to get that much time in the game. This is his first Champions League tournament that he will be making a big impact in, so I believe he is definitely one of the stars to look out for in the next few years, and Chelsea should definitely look into acquiring him, seeing potentially how much he would cost before he goes for a staggering £100 million or something like that. I think he's a fantastic player. So going over the table one more time, I believe Chelsea are going to finish first, second is going to be Sevilla, third is going to be the French team Rennes, and fourth, no disrespect to them, is going to be the Russian team, Krasnodar. My predictions for the other groups. I'm going to start at Group A, that had the reigning Champions League winners, Bayern Munich. They have so many quality players in their team, such as Lewandowski, Sané, Müller, the list can just go on and on and on. They'll find themselves in the group with Atletico Madrid, RB Salzburg, and Russian team, Lokomotiv. Now these teams are all extremely well. I think this is going to be a very tightly contested group. I believe Bayern are going to come out on top. Bayern Atletico is definitely going to be a game to look out for. But I think Bayern Munich, with their power, with their confidence since they just won the Champions League and their gifted players, they are just going to outdo Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid have just signed Luis Suarez, so they're also going to be a very dangerous team in this group, but I think they are going to finish second behind Bayern Munich, and RB Salzburg are just going to miss out. I believe they have a very good and promising team, a lot of very gifted and talented players that can move the ball quickly and have a lot of skills, but I believe they're going to finish third No disrespect to the fourth team, but the Russian team seems to be coming last at the moment. It's a shame, but yeah, fourth place for them. Moving on to Group B. The teams that are in Group B is Real Madrid from Spain, Inter Milan from Italy, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Mönchengladbach. Now Real Madrid, you know, they won the Champions League 3 times in a row not so long ago. I didn't think any other team was going to be able to stop them, but since losing Cristiano Ronaldo, they've kind of gone off the hinges a bit. Losing Eden Hazard to Real Madrid was also extremely upsetting, but you know what? He hasn't performed. Hopefully he'll come back to Chelsea one day. He does say he wants to eventually come back to Chelsea, but Real Madrid do have very promising youngsters coming through the ranks. I think the likes of Real Madrid versus Inter Milan is going to be a hotly contested game, such as Inter Milan have Lukaku, who's a very, very dangerous player, and some other very good players. But I believe Real Madrid are just going to ease this group and come first. In second is going to be Inter Milan. Shakhtar Donetsk is going to come third, and Mönchengladbach is going to come fourth. Moving on to Group C. Now, this is also a very tightly contested group. We find the likes of Manchester City, Porto, Olympiacos, and Marseille in this group. I believe that Manchester City will win this group. It is just going to be very close for that second and third position. I think the second position in this group is going to go to Porto. This is due to the fact that Porto have very good players. They have very young players coming through the ranks too, very skilled players, and also some players with experience that can help them, guide them. So I believe Manchester City and Porto are going to be these two teams going through to the next stage. The likes of Olympiacos, I believe, will come fourth, and Marseille will come third. Group D is a very hard group to call. You got the likes of Liverpool, Ajax, Atalanta, and Midtjylland. Don't know too much about Midtjylland, not gonna lie. I believe they're gonna come fourth due to the fact that they haven't had much experience in this competition. Their players haven't had much experience, as they do have very good players. I just believe this is a new competition to them that they haven't found themselves in that many times. And due to that fact, they are sadly going to come fourth. They also find themselves in an extremely hard group. I think if they potentially found themselves in Group F, they could have had maybe a little bit of a better chance. But as they're in the group with Ajax, Liverpool, and Atalanta, it is going to be very, very close. Now, Atalanta has a very impressive stadium worth £1 billion. Atalanta is a very good Italian team. I know only 3 games in Serie A have gone so far, but they find themselves first. They are beating teams very well and very convincingly, and I think they are definitely going to be one of the teams that are going to stand out in this competition overall this year. I think Atalanta are going to finish second in this group. I think Ajax, they are such a good team. They gave Chelsea some difficulties last season, and that 4-4 draw at Stamford Bridge was one of the best games of football I've seen in a long, long time. But Ajax sadly seem to be losing all their best players. Over the last few years, they've let the likes of Frankie de Jong go, they let the likes of Hakim Ziyech go, and so many more amazingly talented players. They do have very young players and very gifted players, such as Quincy Promes is still there. They also have a lot of skilled players, and the fans always seem to give them that extra edge over any opposition. I do think, however, Ajax is just going to miss out on the Champions League top 2 places this season. It is hard for me to say this because I do believe Ajax is so sensational and I love to watch them. I just think that the likes of Liverpool and Atalanta do have an edge over them. Liverpool obviously wanted to win the Champions League last season and just missed out due to Atletico Madrid beating them. I think Liverpool are definitely going to come in firing this year in the competition and want to win it like every other team, but I think Liverpool are going to top this group. Atalanta are going to come second, Ajax are going to come third, and Midtjylland is sadly going to come fourth. Moving on to Group F. The teams that are in this group is Zenit, Borussia Dortmund, Lazio, and Club Brugge. This is also a very hotly contested group. I think all the teams in this group is very even. It's going to be very hard to call, but you know what? I'm going to have to call it. I think Borussia Dortmund are going to come first in this group. I think Lazio, as they're an Italian team and they are very good promising players, are going to come second. I think Zenit are going to come third, and Club Brugge are going to come fourth. Group G is my second favourite group. The likes of Juventus are in here and Barcelona. We know the rivalry between Lionel Messi and Ronaldo has been going on for over a decade now, so I'm excited to see those two face off against each other. I personally am a Messi fan. I think he is the best player to ever lived. I think he is the best player in the world right now, and I think Ronaldo is an extraordinary player too. I just don't believe he can be compared to Messi. It's going to be interesting to see how they both perform against each other, as you know, the rivalry of Real Madrid versus Barcelona was so intense a few years ago, and Messi almost left Barcelona to Manchester City. So it is very interesting to see how he's going to be playing for them this season. Barcelona got thumped by Bayern Munich last season, so I want to see all the young players that they've recently gotten and how they have coped over that time. I think Juventus may pull one over Barcelona, but altogether I think Barcelona will win. They might lose to Juventus when they go play in Turin, but besides that, I think Barcelona are going to top this and Juventus are going to come second, only by a couple of points, even that. In third and fourth place, I feel sorry for these teams as they find themselves against such giants. In third place, Dynamo Kiev, Ferencvárosi are going to come fourth. The last group, Group H. Now this group is probably my favourite looking group, as I hate Manchester United and I do not want Manchester United to progress. I'm sorry if there are any Manchester United fans watching this, I doubt it. I believe that Manchester United are going to finish third in this group. I'm also saying that in my heart, in my mind, I just don't want them to go through to the next stage. In Group H, we have PSG, Manchester United, RB Leipzig, and Istanbul. Now, Istanbul is a very good team. I don't want to discredit them. I just think going against these other three teams, they're not going to have enough firepower, and their squad depth isn't going to be the same to the other three teams. Now, I think PSG are going to win this group. They have the likes of Mbappe, Neymar, so many gifted players, and they seem to be running right at the moment. They got a very unlucky against Bayern Munich in the Champions League final. I was rooting for Bayern Munich, but you know, they have such gifted players in PSG. I think if Neymar and Mbappe played better in the final, they could have easily won it. I think Di Maria is also an extremely gifted player. Therefore, I think PSG are going to top this group. Now, there's going to be a huge battle for second and third place between RB Leipzig and Man United. RB Leipzig came very far in the tournament last season, and they played very well. They played very fast, very exciting, very fun to watch football. And Manchester United are having difficulty at the moment with their best team. They got thumped by Tottenham recently. I know this is still speaking very in early days and they can always get momentum moving forward, but I don't believe that they're going to qualify to make it into the next round in this competition. I think they're going to come third and RB Leipzig are going to come second. And fourth, sadly, is going to be Istanbul. So this is my predictions to this year's Champions League group stages. I will also be making a prediction to the round of 16 after this. And I'm also going to be making a review game to our game against Southampton on Saturday. It's been a 2-week international break. Feels like it's been a long time. And I can't wait for that game and the review video and the preview video. I hope you all keep well in this week. I hope you have a fantastic week. Till my next video, see you later.